Hey Tana, I'm just kind of looking at your design. I would say we could probably slightly make this a little more simplified. I don't think you need these icons or the search bar, just because it's adding a lot of more complexity to the design itself. But the rest of it is probably totally doable. Okay, so let's go into Sublime Text. We'll do a file, open file. Let me pause it for this. So I see you have an index page and a works page. Your CSS looks right. Fonts. I don't know if you need this portfolio page. It just seems like it's extra. I could be wrong, but... and then I'm going to open up your index page. I'll open and your works page and your CSS file. Should inside the CSS, this one here. So you don't have any styling yet. Let's go back to the index page. So I do think in your titles you do need to include the title of the page somewhere. So maybe, adding it in like that. I would do the same things to the works page. Save those changes. I am not sure. These style sheets don't look right. This just doesn't look right to me. So let's delete this and let's that's not right. Can't remember what our style link looks like, so we can always open up our CSS demo file, which I have one right here. Let's see. So let's just copy the style sheet link from the CSS demo and put that underneath the title on both the index and the works page for your website. So we're gonna borrow that from the HTML CSS demo. Okay, let me look at your HTML. So there's your head. That looks good. Body, header, your opening nav, closing nav. So you have like this search class, these figures in here with images and links. The only one you really need to keep, honestly, I would suggest getting rid of these ones. The only one you really need to keep is the logo. And you do need closing figure tags. Figure tags do have closing tags, so we do need to do that. Your image is linked to the same exact image, so I would delete the link. Actually, I would leave the link there, but I would just make it the same as a link to the homepage, because the logo on your website should be clickable to your homepage. So I think it should look more like this. So inside the nav you'll have a figure with a image that is a link to your homepage. The image is obviously your logo. ULLIA. You don't have any closing A tags, so let's look at the root folder. So the A tag is supposed to be inside the LI. So let's add that. Okay, save that. Closing nav, and then closing header tag. Okay. Then we launch into the main. So you have another image of yourself here in a figure tag. There's no closing figure tag, so let's go ahead and add that in. The fig caption looks good. The image looks good. You're linking this image again, which I don't think you really need to make this a link unless you really want to link it to a larger image of yourself. But you don't have to make every image a link. Then we have an article here with an H1 and a P, which is great. But I think the article should possibly could possibly wrap around all of this. So let's remove that closing article tag and scroll all the way down to the bottom of your section and put it there. And I don't think you need this aside, so you can get rid of that. And so you have an article with sections inside of the article now. So let's make this a section. And we can take the closing out and put it the closing one underneath, and then we can grab all this and tab it in so that it's nested inside that section tag. Okay, and then here's another section with a figure class of cats. I would take off all these links on your images. You don't need them. And you do need to put in closing figure tags on all of these figures, and remove all of these links on your images. Okay, because you don't need all your images to be links to the same exact image. And we do need to put closing figure tags if we're using a figure element. So just kind of follow along to what I'm doing here. I'm just removing the links, and I'm adding in closing figure tags. Oops. Okay. So there's basically two sections inside of an article in the main area with a image on top of that. Okay. Closing main. Okay, so that looks better. That's what your HTML should look like on your first page. With this one, we have some of the same issues. What I would do is I would just go from here and copy over your header. Command C, oops. And you want to do it from opening tag to closing tag on your header. Go into your works page and make sure you copy paste that in so it matches well. Okay, main section. So we have some sections inside the main, closing sections. I wonder if this should have a section on it. It seems to be what you're doing with each of these figures anyway, is putting them in their own, and at the end of the P, you're closing that out. So you kind of have one missing there, I think, on one of these. The dragon one didn't have a section wrapped around it. Section, where's the octopus? Closing section. Tracy, closing section. Footer, P. Okay, body, main. Uh-oh. The main should live inside the body. So, and it should be above the footer, okay? So make sure that you move that closing main tag above the footer tag on your works page. I don't know if it's like that on HTML. No, it's correct on your index page, but not on the works page. So make sure you fix that. Okay, so your section, you put a figure around your image, which is also a link. This might not be a bad thing to maybe make larger images, but if you don't have time to do that, just get rid of these links around every image. Your indentation is a little bit not wonderful inside each, but if you highlight them and push tab, we can move them in. And you're missing a closing figure tag. You probably just want to put that around. That's just for putting around an image. So, you know, figure is for wrapping images in, or audio, or video. So not for H4s or Ps. So we definitely want to, you know, if you do want to use the figure tag around your images, that's fine, but not around anything else. So the same thing goes for this HTML. On the works page, you got to remove these links around your images, close out your figure tags, and maybe fix your indentation, because in each of these sections, to make it a little bit easier to read. Dragon, so I'm going to close out the figure tag, remove the link on each one of these, maybe fix this, how this is in here. Okay, remove that. Okay, I'm putting in the closing figure tag on this one. removing the link, just having it be a plain image, and also fixing the indentation within the section too, so it's a little easier to read. I don't know, this is wrapped on. Okay, so yeah, and we'll just continue that throughout this page. Okay. Oh, we gotta put the closing figure tag in. Okay. Alright, so we have H4s and Ps inside of a section with a figure in there, with an image inside. That seems pretty good on the works page. And so if we go here, I saved both of those. If we refresh, this is what it's looking like. I believe, here, let me fix this. File, open file, downloads, navigate to your root folder, go to index. So yeah. So I'm able to jump back and forth. So we don't have any styling on your navigation. It might be a good idea to steal some of the styling from the HTML CSS demo, because that's one of the most time-consuming things, is to style a navigation. So I would say, you know, open up the demo CSS file and steal some of the, at least the nav styling. I would actually steal all of the margin padding universal and the box sizing universal, and then all of the nav styling. I would steal all of that, Command C, and put it in your style sheet. I would override this unless you want the font family to be Verdana. Actually, I'll leave that there. I don't know if that's true or not. You might just have that in there. I'll close out of this so as not to confuse myself, because if I have two style sheets open, I usually get a little confused. So if I go in here, that does style. What happened to the nav? It does style your navigation. For some reason I can't see the navigation anymore though, the text. So let me see what happened here. Nav. So there's your logo. It has a link to the index page. UL, LI, LI. So they are white on a white background, so that's why we can't see them. So if we go into a style sheet, background color, let me try to figure this out. Okay, here we go. So we could make it black, which is 0000000. Save that. Go into Chrome, refresh. Now we can see those. Also, the navigation probably could use a background color, which I did put a background color on the nav, but I realized it's actually better used if you put a background color on the header. So if we go in the style sheet and put a background color on the header, and then we don't really need one on the nav if we do that. So I saved that. And it doesn't quite work, but we actually have to put a height of 250 pixels on the header for this to work well. Okay, and one of the problems with your image that you have of your logo, I'm noticing, is that it actually has a lot of white space off to the right of it, so it doesn't look centered, because it has a whole bunch of white space off to the right. So you might need to re-export that without or open it up in Photoshop and crop it so that isn't there, so it looks more centered on your page. All right. Anyway, this looks pretty good now. Both pages look the same because I've got them hooked up to the same style sheet and I have the same nav on both pages. It's a good start. You just have to keep styling and working with it. And definitely reference the div, the footer divs that we did in the HTML CSS demo for styling some of these images, at least try to get them centered and change the fonts.